Good morning, students. Today our topic is vector product or cross product of two non-zero vectors. Okay, you see now the definition: vector product of any two non-zero vectors, a vector and b vector, is written as a vector cross b vector. Okay, and is defined as a vector cross b vector is equal to modulus of a vector modulus of b vector sin theta n cap. You see that in the previous class we have seen the scalar product of two vectors. So how it is denoted? A vector dot b vector. So that's why the scalar product is called dot product. So what is the definition of that? It is modulus of a vector modulus of b vector cos theta. So today we are going to see the cross product. So a vector cross b vector. It is denoted by a vector cross b vector and it is defined as modulus of a vector modulus of b vector sin theta n cap. Here theta is the angle between a vector and b vector. So it varies from, in the cross product, it is varies from 0 to pi. That is the first quadrant to second quadrant. And what is n cap? N cap is a unit normal vector to the given vectors. What is a unit normal vector? It's a unit vector. Unit vector means whose magnitude is 1. So modulus of n cap is equal to 1. And it is normal. Normal means it's a perpendicular. So n cap is, how is n cap? N cap is perpendicular to both a vector and b vector. So n cap, how it is? It is a unit normal vector. So that how it is perpendicular to the given two vectors, that is a vector as well as b vector. Okay, you see now here the dot product. Here modulus of a vector is a number. Modulus of b vector is also a number. The cos theta is also a number because cos 0 we will write as 1. So 1 is a number. So if you take dot product between any two non-zero vectors, you have to write the answer as a number. Okay, but coming to the cross product, so modulus of a vector is a number, modulus of b vector is a number, and sin theta, all the three, the product of these three is a number into n cap. So n cap is a unit normal vector. So that's why your a vector cross b vector is a vector. What is it? A vector cross b vector is a vector. Okay, so while you are writing answer, you have to write in terms of vector. Okay, see now, so modulus of a vector modulus of b vector sin theta. If I take 5 into n cap, it's a scalar multiple of vector. So a cross b is a vector. Okay, so while you are saying about the vector, you should know about the direction. Okay, so for that you should know about the right-handed system and the left-handed system. You see now, if I use my right hand here, this pointer finger shows the direction, so represents a vector or shows in the direction of a vector, and this middle finger is in the direction of b vector. Then the thumb finger will point the direction of a vector cross b vector. Then we can say this a vector, b vector and a vector cross b vector, they form a right-handed system. You see now, this is your a vector, your pointer finger is your a vector and this middle finger is b vector, means this thumb finger will point the direction of a vector cross b vector. Suppose your a vector is rotated in the direction of b vector through an angle theta, then how the a vector cross b vector, how the right-handed screw will move in the same direction your a vector cross b vector moves. Okay, you see that right-handed screw, if I rotate a vector in the direction of B vector, you see that how the right-handed screw will move in the same direction, your A vector cross B vector, it moves. Okay, so that is, and you see now this is your A vector and B vector, and the thumb finger will point the direction of A vector cross B vector. Suppose you see that here if it moves like this, if you have like this is your B vector and this is your A vector, and here this is your B vector cross A vector. So in the right hand system, A vector, B vector, and the thumb finger will show in the direction of A vector cross B vector. Okay, and see now here if we have B vector, A vector, and this is your B vector cross A vector. So B vector cross A vector is opposite in the direction of A vector cross B vector. Okay, so now if you have like this, your A vector, B vector and A cross B, they form a right-handed system. Okay, so if we have like this, B vector, A vector and B cross A, they form a right-handed system. Okay, so the direction is important. So for A vector, B vector and A cross B, they should be in the right-handed system. Okay, see here now you see this is your A vector and here you are having B vector. So the angle between A vector and B vector is theta. So here see now I have to show the direction of n cap. How is your n cap? N cap is perpendicular to A vector as well as B vector. So that's why I have written here it is a 90 degree. You see that n cap. You see that the brown color line that is a directed line segment I have marked here. Okay, so that is your n cap. It is perpendicular to A vector and B vector, means you see your A vector cross B vector is also in the direction of n cap. So how it is your A vector cross B vector? It is in the, it has the direction of n cap. So what is the direction of n cap? N cap is perpendicular to A vector and B vector. So that's why your A vector cross B vector also is perpendicular to A vector and B vector. Okay, so I have said A vector cross B vector is a vector, isn't it? So A vector cross B vector is a vector. So it's a vector means it has magnitude as well as direction. So here we have discussed about the direction using the right-handed system. Okay, so A vector cross B vector direction, it has the direction of n cap. How is your n cap? N cap is perpendicular to A vector and B vector. Okay, n cap is, I have shown here, your n cap is perpendicular to A vector and B vector. So your A vector cross B vector is also in the direction of n cap. So your A vector cross B vector, how it is also perpendicular to A vector and B vector. Okay, so we have completed the direction of A vector cross B vector. Then we'll come to the magnitude. You see now A vector cross B vector, how it is defined? Modulus of A vector, modulus of B vector and sine theta n cap. Now what is asked? The magnitude of A vector cross B vector. So it will be written like this. So if you apply the, here you will have a number. So if you apply the modulus, it is a number, that number is positive. So modulus of A vector. Here also modulus of B vector. And you see your theta varies from 0 to pi. So first and the second quadrant. So your sine theta is positive. So you will get sine theta. Here you have to write modulus of n cap. Okay, it's a vector. So we have to write the modulus. What is modulus of n cap? It is nothing but 1. Modulus of n cap is 1. Okay, because it's a unit vector, so whose modulus is 1. So now you say, what is the magnitude of A vector cross B vector? Is nothing but modulus of A vector, modulus of B vector, sine theta. Okay, see now A vector cross B vector is a vector. Keep that in mind. A vector cross B vector is a vector. It is defined as modulus of A vector, modulus of B vector, sin theta n cap. So it's a vector mean it has magnitude and the direction. Okay, how to denote the magnitude of A vector cross B vector? It is nothing but modulus of A vector cross B vector. So if you write modulus, it should be a number. So it is modulus of A vector, modulus of B vector, sin theta. Okay, so magnitude. Already I have said the direction. So A vector cross B vector, how it is? It is in the direction of n cap. How is the n cap? N cap is perpendicular to A vector and B vector. So that's why your A vector cross B vector is also perpendicular to A vector and B vector. Okay, see now here. See your n cap, this is the brown color directed line segment, that is your n cap. N cap, how it is? It is perpendicular to A vector and B vector. So n cap and A vector cross B vector is acting in the same direction. So your A vector cross B vector also perpendicular to A vector and B vector. Otherwise we can say you consider the plane containing A vector and B vector. Here I have drawn the parallelogram. So parallelogram, the adjacent sides are A vector and B vector. So in the plane A vector cross B vector, how it is? It is A vector cross B vector is perpendicular to the plane containing A vector and B vector. In this way also you can say. Okay, see that here A vector cross B vector is a vector. So vector means what is the magnitude? Modulus of A vector, modulus of B vector, sin theta. And what is the direction? It has the direction of n cap. So A vector cross B vector, how it is? It's a vector perpendicular to both A vector and B vector. In this way also you can say. Otherwise A vector cross B vector is normal. Normal means perpendicular. Perpendicular to the plane containing A vector and B vector. In the plane the perpendicular. In this way also you can say. Okay. Next we are moving to the geometrical meaning of vector product. So already we have seen the geometrical meaning of scalar product. In the same way we are moving to find the geometrical meaning of vector product. So for that I have considered two vectors. One is OA vector, that is A vector. Another one OB vector, that is B vector. You see that OA vector, OB vector. What is the angle between them? It is theta. So from B you draw the perpendicular. The foot of the perpendicular is L. So see now BL, how it is? If you draw the parallelogram OA BC. So first I have considered two vectors, OA vector and OB vector. The angle between them is theta, and you draw the parallelogram OA BC using OA and OB as adjacent sides. Okay, see now here this is your A vector and this is your B vector. So it's the parallelogram, it is in the plane containing A vector and B vector. So how is your n cap? N cap is perpendicular to A vector and B vector. So it is perpendicular to the plane containing A vector and B vector. Okay, so now we are going to see the definition of A vector cross B vector. So you consider this right angle triangle. In that you are going to find sin theta. Sin theta means what? It is the opposite side divided by hypotenuse. Which is the opposite side for this theta? BL. BL is the opposite side and the hypotenuse is OB. Okay, so BL by OB. So here OB vector is there. So here it is a number. So you have to write modulus of OB vector. So what is modulus of OB vector? It is modulus of B vector. Modulus of OB vector is modulus of B vector. So if you cross multiply, it is modulus of B vector into sin theta is equal to BL. So you got the answer for BL. What is BL? Modulus of B vector into sin theta. Now we are going to see the definition of vector product. Here we are going to see only the modulus of A vector cross B vector. Okay, so modulus of A vector cross B vector, what it is? It is a magnitude of A vector cross B vector. It is nothing but modulus of B vector, modulus of A vector, modulus of B vector, sine theta. Okay, so modulus of A vector is written here. What is modulus of B vector into sine theta? That is nothing but BL. Okay, see now we have considered the plane, that is a parallelogram. Okay, OA vector and OB vector are adjacent sides. Okay, then what is OA? That is the base of the parallelogram. So here modulus of A vector means what? It is the magnitude of A vector or length of OA. So the length of OA is nothing but the base of the parallelogram. What is BL? BL is the height of the parallelogram. If you multiply the base and the height, you will get the area of the parallelogram OACB with A vector and B vector or adjacent sides. So, from the vector product, so the geometrical meaning of vector product, okay, is modulus of A vector cross B vector is nothing but the area of the parallelogram OACB with A vector and B vector or adjacent sides. Okay, see here area means we will write as a number. So here vector area means the area should be in the form of a vector. So vector area of the parallelogram having A vector and B vector are as adjacent sides is A vector cross B vector. So A vector cross B vector is nothing but area of the parallelogram in terms of vectors. So that's why it is, I have mentioned vector area of the parallelogram. Only area of the parallelogram is asked now, you have to write as a number. So that's why you have to write modulus of A vector cross B vector. Okay, so from this the parallelogram can be divided. If you draw the line through OC, it is divided into triangles. So from this, the area of the triangle whose two sides are A vector and B vector means it is half into modulus of A vector cross B vector. So keep in your mind, your A vector cross B vector is nothing but vector area of the parallelogram. Vector area of the parallelogram having A vector and B vector or adjacent sides. If we have adjacent sides, we can write the area of the parallelogram using the formula A vector cross B vector. So A vector cross B vector, while you are finding, it is in the form of a vector. So that's why vector area of the parallelogram. If you write modulus, it's a number. So that is the area of the parallelogram. Area of the parallelogram. Okay, so from this, if you want to find only the area of the triangle, okay, means it is half into modulus of A vector cross B vector. So area is nothing but the number. So if you want to write the number, you have to write the modulus. Okay, if you write modulus of A cross B, that is nothing but the area of the parallelogram. And what is A vector and B vector? They are the adjacent sides of the parallelogram. If you want to find the area of the triangle, you have to use the formula half into modulus of A vector cross B vector. Okay, you see that now we are moving to the properties of vector product. See, first vector product is non-commutative. Scalar product is commutative, but vector product is non-commutative. That means you take B vector cross A vector. How you can write? Modulus of B vector, modulus of A vector, sine theta, and you have to be very much careful in the direction. So already I have told. You see now, we are seeing the B vector cross A vector. So see now, this is your B vector and this is your A vector, means your thumb finger where it is down. This is your B vector cross A vector. Okay, now only they form a right answer system. Which one? B vector, A vector and B vector cross A vector. It is in the direction opposite to A vector cross B vector. So therefore, here you have to write minus n cap. Okay, got it? It is in the direction of minus n cap. See, B vector, A vector and minus n cap, they form a right-handed system. So here you have to write minus n cap. So if you write the minus in the front, it is modulus of A vector, modulus, it's a number. Okay, so modulus of A vector, modulus of B vector, sine theta n cap. So what is your B vector cross A vector? It is minus A vector cross B vector. So you see now, in the dot product, you can very well write A vector dot B vector, which is equal to B vector dot A vector. But in the cross product, you can't write A vector cross B vector, which is not equal to B vector cross A vector. Cross product la vector you should not interchange. Okay, so it is vector product is non-commutative. Suppose if you want to interchange, B vector cross A vector can be written as minus of A vector cross B vector. If you want to interchange, you see that in the A vector should come front, means you have to use minus. So B vector cross A vector is equal to minus of A vector cross B vector. And you see that two vectors are collinear or parallel. Already I have said two vectors are collinear or parallel. If they are collinear, means they lie on the same line. Parallel means they act in the parallel lines. Okay ma. So collinear or parallel means what is the angle between them? So the angle is either 0 or pi. Okay, if in the same direction means the angle is 0. If it is in the opposite direction means your angle is pi. Okay, so see now here, and what is your A vector cross B vector? What is the definition? Modulus of A vector, modulus of B vector, sine theta. So if you write sine theta 0 or pi, so if you write 0 into n cap, so what's answer you will get? So sine 0 is 0, 0 into anything 0, but here you are having a vector, so you have to write 0 vector. Suppose if you write pi, the angle is pi, modulus of A vector, modulus of B vector, sine pi into n cap. If you have like this, sine pi also the value is 0, so therefore you have to write 0 vector. So what is very very important? If the two vectors are collinear or parallel, the cross product between them is 0 vector. You should not write 0, it's a vector, so you have to write 0 vector. Have you remembered in the dot product, if any two vectors are perpendicular, the dot product between them is 0. Okay, here any two vectors are parallel or collinear, which will become 0? Modulus of A vector cross B vector, otherwise A vector cross B vector is a 0 vector. So perpendicular, if the word comes, you have to use the dot product between them is equal to 0. Collinear or parallel comes, you have to use the cross product between the two vectors is a 0 vector. And coming to the third property, see what are the conditions and what are the cases your cross product will become 0. So already we have discussed in the dot product also. Okay, any one vector is a 0 vector. So A vector is equal to 0 vector, or B vector is equal to 0 vector, or A vector and B vector or parallel or collinear, the cross product will become 0. And see now, what about cross product of the same vectors? So what is it? A vector cross A vector. Use the definition modulus of A vector, and sine 0 into n cap. Sine 0 is what? It is 0. So therefore it is 0 vector. So the cross product of cross product of the same vector is equal to 0 vector. In the same way, what is I vector cross I vector and j vector cross j vector and k vector cross k vector, that is the vector, is equal to 0 vector. Why? They are equal vectors. The cross product between them is 0 vector. We have seen here. What is I cap, j cap and k cap? They are the unit vectors acting in the direction of x axis, y axis and z axis. Okay, so the cross product of equal vectors is equal to 0 vector. So that's why I vector cross I vector and j cap cross j cap is equal to k cap cross k cap is equal to 0 vector. Okay, next one. What is I vector cross j vector? You see now, I vector cross j vector. It is modulus of I cap, modulus of j cap and sine. What is the theta? I cap, where it is? It is along x-axis. J cap is a unit vector acting along y-axis. So what's the angle between x-axis and y-axis? It is 90 degree. So sine 90 degree. And you have to write n cap. Okay, I'll discuss about n cap now. So modulus of I cap, it's a unit vector, so the modulus is 1. Here also modulus of j cap also 1. What is sine 90 degree? Sine 90 degree also 1. And n cap, what I have said pre the starting, it is a unit vector normal to I cap and j cap. So while you are talking about a vector cross b vector, it's a unit vector. N cap is a unit vector perpendicular to a vector and b vector. So here n cap is a unit vector perpendicular to I cap and j cap. You see that I cap is acting along x-axis, j cap is acting along y-axis. So x-axis ko y-axis ko perpendicular இருக்கிறது z-axis. Z-axis la act agra unit vector is what? It is k cap. So here in this I cap cross j cap, the unit vector normal to I cap and j cap is k cap. So therefore, what is I cap cross j cap is equal to k cap. Okay, so see that we have said it is what is it? Cross product is non-commutative. If I want to write j cap cross I cap, what I have to write? So I have interchanged the vectors. If you interchange, you have to write minus. So minus k cap. Okay, and you see that now that's the next way. What is j cap cross k cap? See, everything is a unit vector. Everything is j cap and k cap are unit vectors. So how will you write? Modulus of j cap is 1, modulus of k cap is 1 and sine 90 degree. So that also 1. So now you have to write the unit vector perpendicular to j cap and k cap. J cap is on the y-axis. K cap is on the z-axis. So ரெண்டு ஆக்சிஸ்க்கும் perpendicular இருக்கிறது x-axis. X-axis la act ஆகிற unit vector is I cap. Okay, so if you interchange, what is k cap cross j cap? That is equal to minus I cap, because it is non-commutative. Which one is non-commutative? That is cross product. So the next one, what is k cap cross I cap? That is equal to, okay, modulus of k cap, that is 1, modulus of I cap, that is also 1. And what is the angle between them? 90 degree. So sine 90 degree also 1. Which one you have to write? You have to write the unit vector perpendicular to k cap and I cap, that is j cap. Okay, if you interchange, what is I cap cross k cap? That is equal to minus j cap. So when you have to write plus and when you have to write minus, you see the cyclic order I, j, k. I cross j, j cross k and k cross I. If it is in the cyclic order, you have to write positive. If the cyclic order has changed, you have to write the minus. In this way you have to remember. Okay, see now here the property I have explained the property. Here it is written. What is I cross j? It is k cap. J cross k, it is I cap. And k cross I, that is equal to j cap. I, j, k. If it is in the cyclic order, you have to write positive. The cyclic order has changed, you have to write minus. And what about the scalars in the cross product? There is no there is no change about the scalars. So what you have to do, m and n are scalar means that the m and n, the scalars has to be taken out, and you have to take the cross product between the two vectors. Otherwise the scalar we can place to the first vector or we can place to the second vector. Okay, you can interchange the scalars also. N a cap cross m b cap, that also you can write. So the scalars, if comes, we can take the scalars out and we have to take the cross product between the vectors, and we will see vector product is distributive over addition. Scalar product also we can distribute over addition. In the same way vector product also we can distribute over addition. A vector cross b vector plus c vector can be written as a vector cross b vector plus a vector cross c vector. So it's a next one. In the same way, a vector plus b vector cross c vector can be written as a vector cross c vector plus b vector cross c vector. In the same way, addition and the subtraction also it can be the vector product is distributive. So a vector cross b vector minus a vector cross c vector. You should not change the order of the vectors. A vector cross b vector minus a vector cross c vector. So see that now here we have taken the three vectors, the addition of three vectors. So it is a vector cross b vector plus a vector cross c vector plus a vector cross d vector. So therefore vector product is distributive over addition. And next one, how working rule to find the cross product. So see, a vector a1 I cap plus a2 j cap plus a3 k cap. It is in terms of rectangular components. It is given how to find the what is that cross product. So b1 I cap plus b2 j cap plus b3 k cap. So if you want to find the cross product between them, you have to use the determinant having the first row as I cap, j cap, k cap, and the second row as a1, a2, a3. What is a1, a2, a3? They are the coefficients of I cap, j cap and k cap of a vector. So here which vector comes first, you have to write the coefficients of I cap, j cap, k cap in the order as a second row. Next, vector coefficient has to be written as a third row, and if you evaluate the determinant, you will get the answer for a vector cross b vector. Okay, so the next one, see for example, see here a vector is taken as 2 I cap plus 3 j cap plus 4 k cap. Okay, and b vector can be written as I cap minus j cap and plus 3 k cap if we have like this. Okay, so you have to find the dot product between them, the dot product. So how to find the dot product? In the dot product, I cap dot I cap is equal to 1. J cap dot j cap is equal to 1. K cap dot k cap is equal to 1. So that's why we have multiplied the coefficients of same components. So here you will have 1. I cap means it is 1. So 2 into 1 is 2. In the same way here 3 into minus 1. So 3 into minus 1 is minus 3. So here 4 into 3 is 12. So it is plus 12. So we have found the answer like this. Because of this result, I dot I and j dot j and k dot k is equal to 1. The other results are 0 for that also. I cap dot j cap is equal to 0. So that's why we have multiplied the same components and then add for the dot product. Here if you want to find the cross product, so how will you write? It is a determinant. In the first row, you have to write I, j, k. Okay, in the second row, which vector is first? Here your A vector is first. You have to write the coefficients of I cap, j cap, k cap of A vector. So here you have to write 2, 3, 4. And next you have to write the B vector. B vector coefficients is 1, -1 and 3. So using expanding the determinant, you will get the answer. The answer is in terms of a vector. Okay, so you see now, next one, if theta is the angle between A vector and B vector, theta is the angle between A vector and B vector, then what is sine theta? You take the definition of A vector cross B vector. So what is A vector cross B vector? It is defined as, how it is, modulus of A vector, modulus of B vector, sine theta n cap. Now we are going to find the modulus of A vector cross B vector. What is the magnitude of A vector cross B vector? It is modulus of A vector, modulus of B vector, sine theta alone. You have to be careful with that. Okay, it is a magnitude. From this we are going to find sine theta. So sine theta, I kept it in the right side. So this is a number and this also a number. So it is modulus of A vector cross B vector divided by modulus of A vector, modulus of B vector. Okay, so see now, everything is within the modulus. Modulus of A cross B. A cross B find out pannita, then you have to take the magnitude. While you are taking the magnitude, the numerator number is positive and the denominator also, it is in the modulus, so they are also positive. So therefore sine theta, while you are finding, you will find the angle in the first quadrant only. So if it is asked, generally asked angle between two vectors, means you have to use the cos theta formula. So cos theta, the previous class we have studied, A vector cross B vector divided by modulus of A vector, modulus of B vector. So in the numerator, A vector dot B vector, it may be positive or negative. So exactly you can find the angle between two vectors. So if you use this formula, you can find only the angle in the first quadrant only, because everything is positive. So it lies in the first quadrant. But angle between two vectors, if you want to find, if you use cos theta, so you can find the angle in the exactly in the quadrants. So okay. See now, next topic, unit vectors perpendicular to both A cap and B cap. So see now, unit vector perpendicular to A cap and B cap. So two vectors are given. In the two vectors ko perpendicular are unit vectors. So which one? What we are going to find? We are going to find n cap. Okay, in the n cap, how it may be? It may be positive or negative. Okay, so we are going to find what is n cap. What is n cap? N cap is a unit vector perpendicular to A vector and B vector. Okay, you take the definition. What is the definition? A cross B. A cross B is equal to modulus of A vector, modulus of B vector, sine theta n cap. So here, see now, you take that A vector cross B vector. So it can be written as, so in the place of this, in the definition, in the place of modulus of A vector, modulus of B vector, sine theta, shall we write like this? So modulus of A vector cross B vector into n cap. Okay, A cross B is what? It's a magnitude of A vector cross B vector, and it's a unit vector acting in the direction of A vector and B vector. Okay, see that, have you understood? So A vector cross B vector is defined like this. So in the place of these three, we can write modulus of A vector cross B vector. So from this we can easily find n cap. What is your n cap? N cap, you keep it in the right side. Now you can write A vector cross B vector divided by modulus of A vector cross B vector. This is your n cap. Okay, so if you want to write plus or minus, here you have to write plus or minus. So the definition or the formula to find the unit vector, how this, it is perpendicular to a vector and b vector is plus or minus a vector cross b vector divided by modulus of a vector cross b vector. Okay, so you see vectors of magnitude lambda. So here unit vectors means whose magnitude is 1. Okay, so that's why it is n cap I have written. Here vectors of magnitude lambda. So the magnitude is lambda, and how this vector is perpendicular to both a vector and b vector. Here, so that's why it is nothing but lambda into n cap. Here the magnitude is 1, here the magnitude is lambda. Both are perpendicular to a vector and b vector. So therefore it is plus or minus lambda into n cap. So plus or minus lambda into a vector cross b vector divided by modulus of a vector cross b vector. See now, it's here if you want to find the unit vector perpendicular to a vector. So what is it? Unit vector perpendicular to a vector is a cap. So a cap formula is, it is a vector by modulus of a vector. Okay, so if you want to find the unit vector to one vector is, it is a cap, that is a vector by modulus of a vector. Now we are writing the unit vector which is perpendicular to a vector and b vector. See now here I made mistake, unit vector of a vector. So unit vector of a vector, so is a cap. So it need not be perpendicular. But here we are going to find the unit vector which is perpendicular to a vector and b vector is, what is it? It is nothing but n cap. So what is the formula you have to write? It is a vector cross b vector by modulus of a vector cross b vector. So which word comes this? Which word is important? Perpendicular to both the vectors means you have to use a vector cross b vector divided by modulus of a vector cross b vector. Unit vector is just as asked, means you have to find a cap is equal to a vector by modulus of a vector. So here for that you can write plus or minus, here also plus or minus. Okay, so thank you students.